It's Friday night in a small town. At the edge of the party sits Jonas, living in a state of constant observation, sketching the social dynamics of his peers from the shadows, choosing to remain on the outside of their world. The party's rhythm breaks when a pickup truck pulls in. Out steps Sam, a 24-year-old soldier who immediately takes over the yard. He is the ultimate archetype of conformity, an all-American boy who looks and acts exactly how this town expects a man to carry himself. The central constraint of Sam's life is his 2-week military leave. This 14-day window is a bright, fleeting anomaly against the massive, rigid gray block of his permanent duty. He is a comet with a very strict expiration date. Despite the crowd pulling at him, Sam keeps migrating toward Jonas. He bypasses the usual small talk, looking closely at Jonas's sketches and pointing out his use of negative space. This surprising insight creates an immediate tension between two men from completely opposing worlds. Sam's leave creates a volatile deadline. In this temporary space, the standard rules of his life feel distant, making a sudden lapse in his performance more likely than it would be back at the barracks. The tension shatters when a police raid hits the yard. In the panic, a frantic silhouette grabs Jonas by the hand, dragging him into deep shadows and shoving them both into a tight hiding space behind a large oak tree. They are pressed chest to chest against the rough bark. The adrenaline of the chase and the forced, breathless physical proximity strip away the confident, rehearsed armor Sam usually wears. Sam looks down at Jonas, and the unspoken tension snaps. He kisses him, a messy, urgent collision in the dark. This is a desperate release of pure, repressed need that had been building since they met. The moment the sirens fade and the physical danger passes, Sam pulls back. His military training takes over. He shuts down his emotions, claps Jonas on the shoulder with a rigid, manly gesture, and resets their dynamic to that of casual strangers. When the adrenaline fades, deeply ingrained societal conditioning reasserts control. The authentic self is quickly trapped back behind a high wall of performance. The ensuing silent week takes a severe psychological toll. Jonas spends 7 days checking his phone, receiving 0 messages from Sam. Alone in this silence, Jonas convinces himself that the kiss in the woods was nothing more than a heat-of-the-moment lapse. Desperate for clarity, Jonas attends a second bonfire party. But when he finds Sam, Sam's arm is draped possessively around Chloe. She is a bubbly high school sweetheart, and she represents the predetermined life Sam is expected to lead. Jonas watches the couple and sees the discrepancy in Sam's behavior. Externally, Sam plays his part, hitting all the expected cues for smiling and holding his girlfriend. But internally, his eyes betray him, repeatedly and anxiously scanning the room until they lock onto Jonas. The tension reaches its peak when Chloe, drunk and playful, pulls Sam into an agonizingly public makeout session. The visual is too much for Jonas to bear, forcing him to turn and walk away. As the group decides to relocate to a nearby lake, Sam momentarily untangles himself from Chloe. He catches Jonas's eye and gives a silent, imperceptible nod toward the dark path, a dangerous invitation to leave the safety of the crowd. Careful observation reveals the cracks in a perfect facade. Intense conformity is almost always a rehearsed performance, meant to mask a deep internal panic. Gradually, the cold forces the rest of the partygoers back to the fire, leaving Jonas and Sam alone on a dark, isolated beach. Without the party as an audience, the social hierarchy between the two men shifts. Firm, questioning tone. Jonas confronts him directly. He points out Sam's girlfriend and demands to know if he is just a temporary experiment for a bored soldier. Cornered, Sam delivers a raw confession. He admits he is suffocating under the path laid out for him by his family and the military. With only a week left before he ships back out, he tells Jonas that their connection is his only tether to reality. The confession breaks the final dam of tension. They pull each other into the deep shadows for a desperate encounter that momentarily bridges their two separate worlds. Psychological repression functions like a pressure cooker. When the release valve is finally opened by genuine connection, it results in an uncontrollable purge of the truth. They dress in heavy silence, and the walk back to the party is agonizing. But as they move through the dark woods, Sam tentatively takes Jonas's hand, a silent promise that the dynamic between them has changed. Then they reach the edge of the firelight. This boundary marks the moment where the woods end and the expectations of the real world resume. Chloe is standing there, looking around for Sam. Her appearance immediately triggers the ticking clock of his impending return to base. Sam's survival instinct takes over. His face hardens, he drops Jonas's hand, and he walks forward to embrace his girlfriend, completely ignoring Jonas's existence, as if he were a stranger. When pushed to choose between the terror of authentic freedom and the suffocating safety of a cage, the fear of losing the cage almost always wins. Standing invisible in the shadows, Jonas sees the arrangement for what it is. To Sam, he was a temporary escape, the leave, and Chloe is the permanent obligation. Choosing to guard his peace, Jonas turns his back on the glowing fire and walks away. Minutes later, while holding Chloe, Sam's fake smile falters. The horrific finality of his choice hits him. He untangles himself and frantically sprints back to the empty beach, searching for the man he just erased. In Latin, hic perditus means here, the lost one. It describes a state of permanent isolation, where a single choice creates a self-imposed exile from the truth. This definition applies to the final state of both men. Jonas is left lost by a sharp rejection, returning to his solitary observation. But Sam is left standing alone on an empty beach, permanently lost within a prison of his own making. Sacrificing your authentic self to satisfy the expectations of others destroys the person at the center of the lie. It ensures you remain permanently lost.